acknowledge the Quandamooka people, the traditional owners of the land in which we meet, and pay my respects to their elders. I'd like to welcome Mayor Karen Williams and Councillor Mark Edwards, and Karen's actually going to welcome the Dragons for us in a minute.
And good evening everyone, and I too would like to acknowledge the Quandamooka people, the traditional owners of the land in which we gather here this evening, and I pay respects to elders past and present. And I'd like to acknowledge my colleague here, Councillor Mark Edwards, who's a great advocate for all of you over here, and it's lovely to have him over here and buying me a glass of wine after hard day's work. Thank you very much, Mark.
And good evening, Mayor Williams. My name is Sharon Keegan from the Bay Island Conservation Group on Russell Island. And by the way, I love the concept of a museum multicultural centre for escaping Brisbaneites, by the way. My subject tonight is shared cycle bike walkways. Our group has been initiating a section of wetlands to be constructed for this reason. We were provided with a grant to start this project and would like to see it proceed into the not so distant future. Speaking on behalf of Bay Island Conservation Inc., I would like to start with a few extracts of information taken from the Bayside Bulletin, published on the 5th of May 2014 and written by Judith Kerr. It stated that Redland City Council will mark the start of this week's bike week, building a shared use bridge over Raby Bay's Ross Canal, and it also stated that a 2.5 metre wide bridge over a canal was part of a $900,000 work of cycle tracks and walkways in the area, and expected to be completed this month, being June. It stated Redland, Mayor Williams, said the bridge would join 38 kilometres of cycleway in the city that will eventually link Raby Island to Redland Bay, and that the cycleway is along 4 shores and through natural bush, as well as a few short on-road sections on quiet streets. Councillor Ogilvie, who is chairman of the Council's Redlands Bicycle Advisory Committee, said Redlands was bike heaven. And this week, a good chance to explore lesser known tracks, including Redlands Regional Track Park at Cleveland. Last time I looked, we are also part of the Redlands. This committee was set up in 2000 to advise the Council and to promote cycling awareness. It's very healthy for you and the environment. The paper also reported Redland City Council will mark the start of this week's bike week, somewhere in early May, by the building of a shared use bridge. I believe on these grounds alone we have ample proof of viability and interest in the value of shared cycling and walking paths on Russell Island. Apart from the fact that we have idyllic settings that combine bush, wetlands and beach, including camping, we have access to vast areas of bush that already have fire trails through them. We also have right here, right now, an infrastructure that supports this form of ecotourism, for example, Macleay Island bike rentals. John Webb, who I have spoken to, has made me very aware of how helpful he is to help to visiting people by accommodating their wishes in delivering all sizes of bicycles to any island here in our ferry system, which is made easy by our free ferry service inter-island. All we need now is the proper infrastructure in good surfaces on trails, the construction of bridging over wet areas, the creation of comfort zones such as picnic tables and seating, and possibly even an eco-friendly toilet in the central part of Russell Island. The founder of Bay Island Conservation Incorporated, Brian Atkin, envisioned back in 2008 a picturesque set of trails around and through our wetland and bush areas leading to our beach, which I believe has now become available for camping and kayaking. As this area already has toilet facilities, it now could also use pathways and better parking to keep vehicles off the fragile sandy foreshore. And here is my 32-second slideshow, which is more than enough to show off our island's attributes. Thank you for listening.
I'm not saying no, I'm having a question for you. So is your main proposition to the council to allocate part of their budget to this project? Or are you intending, or are you suggesting that this could be run as some sort of separate project, maybe with some other funding source?
Oh no, definitely not. We have in the past received grants from outside of council, yes. But because we live on Macleay Island, I do believe that council could get involved in this, yes. Because our foreshore, in particular down at Sandy Beach, is council run, from what I understand. The toilets are looked after by council. The beach is looked after by council. The roads are looked after by council. So I would have to assume that the infrastructure would be looked after by council.
So maybe we're handing over to the mother of dragons here.
Thank you for that broadcast, Daniel. Look, I think it's important to acknowledge that some of the funding that you referred to in that newspaper article actually comes from the state government. And, you know, we are all looking at innovative ways to supply infrastructure. And I think there's heaps of opportunity, and I'd actually like to acknowledge that Councillor Mark Edwards has been very innovative in allowing communities to do more in this space other than just pay very expensive contractors to deliver this work on the island. And I might hand over to Mark because he's probably got more of the intricate detail about what has happened, but we acknowledge that this is an opportunity. But I think with this panel in front of you, you have an opportunity now to go, well, without the same old story about relying on council or government funding, what are you going to do to actually turn this into an attraction for people outside of the islands? And what's your business plan to do that? Because I'm telling you now, no matter what level of government you're at, you need a business plan. We want to generate value for our residents. And we're not saying the islands aren't important. I think this is the most undiscovered part of South East Queensland. But we need to be smarter as to how we sell it. And putting your hand up for dollars these days, I'm afraid, those times in the short term are gone. We need to work together to find innovative ways to deliver the things that you think are important. But then how are you going to sell that to the rest of South East Queensland, to the rest of the world? But just to give you a quick update, because I know Mark has worked very, very hard in this area to try and do things differently. So I'll put your councillor on.
Just so you're aware, in no way was I trying to compare the enormity of the structure that you put in place. I was just making it of you aware, or council dragons, whichever you want to call yourselves, aware that we do have a situation that could be addressed because we have a place where it could definitely happen. That's all I wanted to say.
I'd just like to add that when I came in about 2 years ago, I saw walking trails throughout the island as one of the opportunities we could look at doing. And so we've since put our first trail in, about 1.6 kilometres of Billabong, and that's been well used. Officers and myself are going through and mapping the entire island to have a plan for about 22 kilometres of walking trails. We've also introduced, through the support of the other councillors, we've got our first camping site on Russell Island down on the beach, and that's nearing the end of the trail, but it's been well used. So we do have a plan going forward, and we like to involve the community, but what we have to realise is that there's certain things that the community can do and can't do, and particularly when it's around occupational health and safety and operating machinery, that we do have some restrictions to what community can do. And I've been able to get budget funding to do a lot of work on trails, and that will still continue. And I welcome the community to help with the process, but regardless, that work will still go on.
So I think the key here is that we need to work together to work out how we can promote what's already there to encourage us to find funding across the board to do more. I think that's the key.
I agree with you. Thank you for that. And there is one more thing. I would like to be able to, I think that council could be handy in also promoting the ecotourism on the islands. Because they're so simple. We have very simple structure on the islands. We have trails, we have bushland, we have wetlands, and we have very short space of areas. You've got to be real here. It's an 8x6 island. Not terribly far to travel.
side of it. And I don't care much for cycleways, but I care a lot for greenways, what I call greenways, which is a shared cycle walking track in various forms. And I think we forget about them. And we're the Redland Institute I'm involved with, and we've been pushing for a greenway in Redland City to be just a generic area that it's a way to get from A to B. In the islands, I mean, what a better form of transport you've got. You know, you are an island, it's very short, encapsulated, and a series of greenways would be fantastic, from end to end, round to round, to link the coast. And we had a presentation by Deirdre, if she's still here. About creating nodes of interest through the islands and linking them with a series of pathways. So there's that side of it, and the other side of it is the health aspect. And I'm pleased to see there's actually a pretty healthy bunch of people here tonight, because we've got to get people out of their cars and out of the car dependency. And greenways is exactly the way to do that. You provide opportunities to get from A to B without having a car. And I think the stat is less than 2 kilometres. It's quicker to ride a bike than to actually get in your car. It's healthier, it's easier, it's more environmentally friendly. So the health side of it is something really, really major for a community to be taken involved with. As far as delivery goes, I'll get back to my thing I don't think I said on the microphone before, but sustainability is not asking for government. And I think you can deliver a lot of this within the community itself. And sure ask for government, but at the moment, no level of government's got any date. And so you're going to have to be on a long list of waiting for it. These are things, if you're smart, with some good planning, look at where you want to link up, look at what the opportunities there are now, whether there's some old roadways, there's some fire trails, there's a whole raft of things. You can actually deliver them within the community itself, and it might be just as simple as mowing some grass from time to time. And I look at the communities, you can get them behind this notion of greenways. Hey, let's forget about the car, let's be able to go from A to B in a safe, secure area. And health is not solely about physical health, it's about not getting run over by a car or a bus. You can have all these great cycleways and then they cross a major road and it's all negated. So I think you've got a fantastic idea if you don't have a high vehicle count on the islands. That you've got a great opportunity to actually deliver something really special. I'd love to see the whole island just have electric cars. And so it's not sort of, yeah, how good would that be? But they're all no good unless you've got someone to drive them. And so these greenways are a great case for that, to be able to have golf carts from one end to the other. So, yeah, look, it's a great idea. But don't rely on the council, get in and make it happen yourself with some smart planning.
Yes, it is. It's about pathways from the top of the island to the bottom.
Just one more thought that came to mind. There's a tremendous opportunity for collaboration and cooperation. When you think about there's a centre that was presented before, an event that was presented before, and now there's something to do when you get here. So I think one of the biggest opportunities for this forum to come away with is, what's the overarching purpose of all of these ideas and initiatives? There's something in there. It's obviously to bring more tourism to the island, to bring more revenue, to bring more spend. But what I would suggest is have some think time at a very high level. What's a common sense of purpose that everyone can galvanise towards and get behind, that's going to combine these individual ideas and strategies that are coming out? At the moment, they seem reasonably different and disparate in some ways, but they're all sort of pointing in the same direction. And I think that think time, community time and collaboration time would be best spent around, let's galvanise a common sense of purpose that we can then align a whole range of projects to. And that, I believe, would help with a lot of the things from a strategic initiative that were mentioned here before in terms of accessing some of that funding or creating the sustainability around those things. Because it just hit me like a ton of bricks saying you've got an event to bring people here, you've got a centre to bring people here, and you guys want to give them something to do when they get here. Those three things lock in together.
Everything that everybody's talked about, from the canoeing to the multiculturalism to the bike trails, it's all about community. The whole thing boils down to community.
And it comes under that banner, of island life. You know, it's a different way of living than on the mainland. So, and that's the common thing that comes through that all these
And
things
that's
do.
the attraction.
But just the last thing on it, if you taking all that through, if seriously, if you do want to get money out of government, then the way you do it is you have a number of different strings to your bow. So people have talked about the strategy around trails is people have talked about health, then there are tourism benefits, then there is the livability of the community. If you package the thing up, then and you're presenting it to all levels of government, you've got to aim at kicking goals for government, achieving goals for government. They're trying to do things with health and whatever. What you're saying is, well, this project can deliver the government. So you've got to think what you're going to deliver for them. It's not about what, in a sense, you've got to deliver for them if you want to get that public money to put it into it.
Absolutely.